I was looking at my credit card statement the other day for the business,
Oh boy.
and I saw this one charge for a cloud hosting platform. I'm not going to name names, but it was, well, let's just say it was a lot higher than it was 6 months ago.
Ah, yes. The creeping bill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, the traffic to that project, it hasn't really changed at all.
It starts out cheap, maybe even free, and then suddenly you're paying, a second mortgage for a little side project. It feels like a trap because, well, it
Yeah.
is.
It's the sauce trap. That's what our source for today calls it. You trade convenience for control, but then you end up paying this massive premium.
It's a variable cost ecosystem. It's designed to keep you in.
So that's what we're diving into today, an exit strategy from that trap.
Mhm.
We're looking at the Sovereign Developer Blueprint.
And the promise is pretty bold.
It is. It says you can move from those unpredictable rising bills to a totally fixed cost environment where you are, and I'm quoting here, the root user.
And root is the key word. This isn't just about saving a few bucks. It's about total sovereignty, being the absolute ruler of your own digital kingdom.
Okay, so let's ground this a bit. The blueprint uses this analogy that I thought was really helpful, the hotel versus the apartment.
It's the perfect way to visualize it. Think of those managed platforms, your Vercels, your Herokus, as a luxury hotel.
Right. Room service, they make the bed. It's nice.
It's very convenient. If the toilet breaks, you just call the front desk. You don't worry about the plumbing or the foundation. But there are rules.
You can't paint the walls.
You can't paint the walls. And you can't just decide you want a bigger room and knock down a wall. And if you have a huge party...
The manager's going to kick me out, or at least hand me a massive bill.
Exactly. They call that scaling. Now, contrast that with the apartment. That's your self-hosted VPS, your virtual private server.
Okay, so in this case, I own the apartment. I got the keys.
You've got the keys. You want to paint the walls neon green. Go for it. You want to rip out the carpet. Nobody's stopping you. But, and this is the big but, if the toilet breaks...
I'm the one holding the plunger.
You're holding the plunger. That's the trade-off. But here's the kicker. The cost. In the hotel, the source says scaling apps can run you up to $700 a month.
Wow.
The apartment, the VPS, we're talking a fixed cost. About $6 a month.
$6. That
Yeah.
sounds... that sounds suspiciously cheap. What am I actually getting for $6? Is it some old computer in a closet somewhere?
No, not at all. And this is a huge misconception. A VPS is a slice of just a monster of a server.
A monster.
Think physical servers in these giant data centers with like 128 cores and 500 gigs of RAM. It's a beast.
Okay, so a supercomputer.
Pretty much. And virtualization just carves out a little private, isolated slice of that beast just for you.
Yeah.
You get your own CPU, your own RAM. It's your own private computer in the cloud.
And the cost is fixed because I'm just renting that slice no matter what I do with it.
Yeah, precisely. You aren't paying per request or per user or for bandwidth. You rented the box. Whether you run it at 100 per CPU all day or let it sit idle, the price is $6.
That is really compelling. But I have to play devil's advocate here. I'm a developer. I'm not a sysadmin. The whole reason the hotel is appealing is that I don't want to spend my weekend patching Linux kernels.
And that is the fear barrier. That's what stops most people. But the argument this blueprint makes is that the plumbing isn't some kind of black magic anymore.
Sure.
It's just a set of skills that have been, hidden from us. And by reclaiming them, you don't just save money, you gain superpowers.
All right, let's test that. Let's walk through it. I buy this $6 apartment. How do I get in? There's no front door.
There is. You use the keys to the kingdom. And that brings us to SSH. Secure shell.
The dreaded terminal window.
It really shouldn't be dreaded. It's just a tunnel. You connect from your laptop through Port 22, and you have a direct encrypted line to that server wherever it is in the world. But
There's always a but.
the blueprint has a very, very strict rule here.
Look as.
Stop using passwords. Immediately.
Wait, really? I thought a super long, complex password was, best practice.
Not for servers. There are bots out there just scanning the internet 24/7, hammering port 22 on every IP they can find, just trying millions of password combinations.
So it's a matter of when, not if.
Eventually, they might get lucky. So the alternative is SSH keys.
Okay, how does that work?
You run a command, shift key again, on your own computer, and it creates a cryptographic pair. Think of it like a biometric lock on your apartment door.
Biometric? Like my fingerprint.
Exactly. The private key, that's your fingerprint. It stays on your laptop. The public key goes on the server. So when you try to connect, the server holds up this little puzzle and says, only the person with the matching private key can solve this. Your laptop solves it instantly, and the door just opens.
So even if someone steals my laptop and knows my username, they can't get in.
Correct. Unless they have that specific key file from your hard drive, the server won't even talk to them. It's a whole other level of security.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm in the apartment.
Yeah.
But now I'm just standing there looking at a blinking cursor. This is usually the point where I panic and go running back to the hotel.
And 5 years ago, I'd say, well, time to learn a bunch of Linux commands. But the game has totally changed. This is where we introduce the interface.
The panels.
The panels, exactly. The blueprint specifically calls out tools like Docploy and Coolify. You install one of these on your VPS, and it gives you a beautiful visual dashboard.
So it looks like Vercel.
It looks remarkably like Vercel. You get CPU charts, application logs, deploy buttons, domain settings. It just sits between you and the raw operating system.
So I don't have to be a command line wizard.
Not at all. The first 5 minutes in the source is literally, buy the VPS, run one command to update it, sudo apt update, and then run one more command to install the panel. That's it.
There was one bit of advice in the setup that it caught my eye. It said, disable malware scanners during install. That sounds kind of like a terrible idea.
It does, doesn't it? Hey, please turn off all the security.
Right. Why on earth would you do that?
It's about context. A lot of these cheap VPS providers, they pre-install these really heavy generic malware scanners that they run in the background, and they can eat up 30 or 40% of your RAM.
Oh, wow. So on a small server, that's a huge performance hit.
A huge hit. The philosophy here is you're the admin. You know what code you're putting on the server because you wrote it. You don't need some bloatware scanner checking your own work. You want every ounce of that server's power going to your application.
That makes a lot more sense. It's about efficiency. Okay, so the panel is up. We have a dashboard, but my server is just an IP address right now, some numbers. How do I get my coolap ... to point to it?
Right. We've got to connect the plumbing. This is DNS, the phone book of the internet.
A phone book.
You go to wherever you bought your domain, like Namecheap, and you create an AIR record, A for address. You're just telling the world, hey, when someone types in this domain, send them to this IP address.
Simple enough. What about the little padlock, though? HTTPS. I still have nightmares about buying SSL certificates and manually installing them.
Oh, those days were awful. Thankfully, they're gone. This is another thing the panel just handles for you. Tools like Docploy are integrated with Let's Encrypt.
Which is the free certificate authority, right?
Yep. The panel just automatically proves you own the domain, it downloads the certificate, installs it, and even auto-renews it for you. You get a fully secure site with that green padlock, and you didn't have to do a thing.
That's a huge weight off my mind. Security by default. Okay, so we've got the house, the keys, the address. Now we need to move the actual furniture in. Let's talk deployment.
This is the part that gets everyone hooked. The git push workflow.
Because the old way was, what, FTP? Drag into dropping files?
Oh, it was a mess. Or trying to manually git pull on the server. The modern way, the one in the blueprint, is just seamless. You connect your GitHub repository to your Docploy panel.
Okay.
You work on your code on your laptop, like always. You commit it. You get pushed to your main branch. That push sends a little signal, a webhook, to your server that says, hey, new code's here.
And the server just grabs it?
The server grabs it, and then it uses this tool called Nixpacks.
Nixpacks? This sounded like actual magic in the source. What is it doing?
It's a build engine. It's smart. It scans your code. It sees a package.json file and goes, aha, this is a Node.js project. Or it sees a requirements.txt and says, okay, Python. It automatically figures out the language, installs all the right dependencies, and builds your application into a container.
So I don't have to write my own Docker file or configure the whole environment?
For, I'd say, 95% of projects, no. It just works. You push your code, and 30 seconds later, your new version is live. It perfectly replicates that premium platform as a service experience.
That's really impressive. That's always a but. Data.
A data layer, yes. This is where a sovereign developer can get into some serious trouble if they're not careful.
The source makes this big distinction between ephemeral and persistent. Can we break that down?
Absolutely. So your application, the code that Nixpacks builds, it lives in a container. Think of that container as a temporary workspace. When you deploy a new version of your app, the old container is just destroyed.
Poof, gone.
And a brand new one is created.
So if my app lets users upload a profile picture, and I save that picture inside the container,
the next time you deploy, that picture is gone forever.
That is a disaster.
It's a catastrophe. That's why you need persistence. You need a database like PostgreSQL running outside of that temporary app container on the server's actual hard drive.
Got it. So the database stays put. But the blueprint had a very specific, like all caps warning about connecting the app to the database.
Okay.
Never use the public IP.
This is such a classic rookie mistake. You got your app and your database on the same machine, but you tell your app to connect by going out to the public internet, finding the server's own IP address, and then coming back in.
That sounds like leaving your apartment, walking down the street, and then climbing back in through the window just to talk to your roommate.
That is the perfect analogy. It's slow, it's inefficient, and worse, it exposes your database port to the whole world. The blueprint is clear. Use the internal Docker network.
How does that work?
Docker creates its own little private virtual network inside your server. You can give your database a simple name, like PostgreSDB. Then in your app's configuration, you just tell it to connect to PostgreSDB. The traffic never, ever leaves the server. It's instant, and it's completely invisible to the outside world.
That is a serious pro tip. Okay, so we've got the full stack. But the really cool thing about a VPS is it's not just for websites. It's a computer that is on all the time.
The always-on advantage. This is where we get into these things called agents.
Yeah, the source had this newscraper example. I loved this part.
It's a perfect use case. Imagine a simple Python script. It just wakes up once a day, connects to an LLM API like OpenRouter or GPT-5, and then it goes and scrapes a site like Hacker News.
So it reads the news for me while I'm sleeping?
It reads the top stories, summarizes them into a little report, and saves it as a file. And it all happens whether your laptop is on, off, or at the bottom of a lake.
And what about resources? Does that take a lot of power?
Almost nothing. A script like that uses maybe 50 megabytes of RAM. It is a tiny, tiny drop in the ocean. You could run hundreds of these little agents.
So how do you schedule it? You're not logging in every morning to click run, right?
Yeah, you use cron jobs. It's the built-in timekeeper of the server. You just give it a schedule in this funny-looking syntax. 9.
And that means?
At the bareth minute of the 9th hour every single day, run this command python agent.py. It's pure, simple automation.
I just love the idea of having these little digital workers on my server in, say, Germany, just working away from me while I'm here having my morning coffee.
It's leverage. You write the code once, and it runs for you forever.
So we've covered custom code, but the blueprint also talks about the VPS as a bento box.
Right, a multi-tenant powerhouse. This is the one-click sauce replacement idea. You have this powerful machine. Why just run one thing on it?
So what else are we cramming in there for our $6 a month?
Okay, you have a blog or a marketing site. Install WordPress.
Instead of paying a managed WordPress host $30 a month.
Exactly. You need to automate workflows between different apps. Install N8AN. It's a self-hosted alternative to Zapier.
And Zapier can get really expensive really fast.
With N8N on your VPS, you get unlimited executions. You can run 1 million tasks a month, and it costs you $0 extra.
That right there pays for the server many times over.
Easily. And then you have your PostgreSQL database, your Python agents, and your analytics.
Right. Analytics is another one of those SaaS traps.
Yeah.
Google Analytics is free, but you're paying with your users' privacy.
Absolutely. And for the sovereign developer, owning your data is everything. The blueprint suggests a tool called Umami.
Umami.
It's a beautiful, lightweight, privacy-first analytics tool. You just deploy it from your Docploy panel with one click. You map a subdomain to it, like analytics.mysite.com, and then you just drop a little script tag on your website.
And all that data goes straight to my server, not to Google.
It stays on your server. You get all the insights you need, page views, bounce rate. But you are fully GDPR compliant. You are not feeding the big tech data machine. You own it all.
It sounds like the perfect setup. But I have to bring us back to the fear factor. The reason people pay for the hotel is that if something goes wrong, someone else fixes it. If I break my server, I'm just dead in the water.
The fear is real, I get it. But the blueprint offers 2 very specific safety nets for this.
The first one is the time machine.
Daily snapshots. Most VPS providers offer this for like $1 a month. They take a complete picture of your server's entire hard drive every 24 hours. So if you mess something up badly, you just log into your provider, you click restore from yesterday, and poof, you're back in time.
Okay, so that's a good backup. What's the second safety net?
This one is the nuke option.
That sounds a little aggressive.
It is, but it's psychologically very important. It's the reinstall OS button. If you somehow manage to just completely destroy your server's configuration beyond repair, You just hit that button.
And it just wipes it clean.
In about 2 minutes, it resets the whole thing to factory settings. This is what turns your VPS from something scary into the ultimate sandbox. You should never be afraid to experiment because the cost of total failure is just 2 minutes of your time.
That's a great way to think about it. It's not a disaster, it's just a reset button.
Exactly. It encourages you to learn without that paralysis of, what if I break everything?
So we've covered the how, the what, and the safety nets. The blueprint wraps all this up with a kind of manifesto. It boils the whole philosophy down to 3 pillars.
Cost, skill, and freedom.
Let's just recap those. Cost is the obvious one.
$6 a month, fixed. Versus unpredictable variable SaaS fees that can go into the hundreds. The math is just undeniable.
Right. Then skill.
Mastering the black box, learning how the internet actually works underneath all the abstractions. There's this great quote in the source. Frameworks change, clouds change, server fundamentals stay forever.
I love that. You know, Reaction might be cool today, but understanding TCP/IP and DNS is never going out of style.
Never. Investing time in learning Linux is an investment that will pay dividends for your entire career.
And the last one? Freedom.
No platform lock-in. If you don't like your VPS provider anymore, you just take your backups and your data and you move to a new one in an afternoon. You are not stuck in anyone's proprietary ecosystem. You own your destiny.
It's a really compelling argument. I think many of us have, gotten lazy with the cloud. We've let the platforms handle everything, and maybe we've lost touch with the machine itself.
And we are definitely paying a price for that convenience.
So here's my challenge to you if you're listening. You don't have to go migrate your company's entire production infrastructure tomorrow. But maybe for that next side project, that little tool you've been meaning to build.
Just try the apartment, spend the $6, get a little server, generate an SSH key.
See what it feels like to be root. And hey, if you break it, you just nuke it and start over.
That's the spirit.
Thanks for diving deep with us on the Sovereign Developer Blueprint. Go get your keys. We'll see you next time.